All right, I am here with the one and only Miss Robeson. How's it going?
It's going well. How about you?
I'm doing good. So I guess the first question is, what branch did you serve in and how long?
I was in the Air Force for 4 years.
I was in the Army Reserves. I was in for 6 years.
So I was active duty Army. I was in for about 7.5 years. I joined right after high school and got out at 24.
So what inspired you to enlist?
I come from a family of 8, and 3 of my brothers had gone into the service. One was in the Marines, one was in the Air Force, and another one in the Army. So I wanted to get my college education paid for.
So this is actually something I'm sure a lot of our young men go through, where I was 16-ish, 17, and I was a pretty good student, but not a great student, and knew I wanted to go to college, but didn't know how to pay for it, didn't think my parents could help, didn't know what I wanted to go to college for. So really it was a matter of, I wasn't like the kid that aspired to be in the Army or something, but the recruiter called me at just the right time, and it seemed like that was a better option at the time than going to school and wasting $40,000 on something I couldn't be confident would give me a job afterwards.
I wasn't ready to go to college, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. So it was kind of a little out of the box for where I grew up and everything, and I wanted to do something that was a part of something bigger. And that kind of filled the bill.
And you picked Air Force specifically, or is that?
I definitely picked Air Force specifically. All the branches, they have something to say about each other, right? When you talk to Mr. Seeley, he's going to let you know.
All the branches make fun of each other for different reasons. If you see any veterans talk about the Marines, they call Marines crayon eaters in a loving way. It's just a rivalry that exists between the branches, and there's other things I'm not willing to say on a school camera for this, but yeah, all the branches make fun of each other. It's engaging. It's like a friendly little rivalry.
But so the Air Force, the joke for the Air Force was, it was the chair force. We slept in dorms. Army slept in tents.
Oh.
Marines slept in the woods with probably a tarp. And the Navy slept on ships in the middle of the ocean. Chair force.
I didn't pick the Army. The Army picked me. So what happened is a recruiter went to my high school and got a friend of mine that graduated a year before me. And then that same recruiter came to the school, and I took the ASVAB, which some of you 16-year-olds might do in SHS at some point in time. And I got a really good score on the ASVAB, and the recruiter was like, well, you pretty much have your pick of the litter as far as jobs. So it's not that I was specifically inclined to do Army over Navy or Air Force or Marines, but it's just that's the way life happens sometimes. So I went with it, and I became a medic and nurse in the Army for 7 years.
I guess my next question is, what do you think was the best part about being in the military as a whole?
Well, it was the furthest I'd been away from home, and you're on your own, so you meet incredible people.
So every veteran's going to have the same answer, or close to every veteran, and it's the relationships you make.
So I have friends that I have been friends with since 1984, and they're all over the world. So we still will get together and do reunions and stuff, and I mean the friendships you build are incredible.
Same with sports teams, your offensive linemen on the football. You're really going to be close with your coaches and your other people on offense. And for me, it was all the people I knew. The day-to-day stuff I didn't really care for one way or the other, but I really loved the people I served with. I think about them frequently now.
The best part of serving was the traveling that we did. 2 weeks out of every year, you got to go to a different state. One year we went to West Point, New York, set up tents, and I was in a dental unit to start with. And then another year we went to San Antonio, and that worked out really, it was fun.
Is there anything that you think high school students should know before enlisting?
You really have to be able to get yelled at a lot, because basic training is just about yelling at you for everything. So I think if you know what you're getting into, I just don't, to me, it was 4 years that kind of stay with you forever. And you have great memories, and you go places you'd never go otherwise, and you test limits that you would not get the opportunity to test otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to be direct, if you're going to enlist, you should come talk to me at some point in time. I can give you, I don't have, like right in the middle. I look at a lot of things I did in the military on good terms and some of the things I did on not so good terms. So the recruiter's job is just to get you in. I don't care whether kids join or not. I think there's a lot of things to weigh out for how your next 5 to 10 to 20 years go. And I think there's a lot of ways in which the Army did that well for me, but also ways in which it wasn't perfect. So any kid that would potentially serve, just know what you're getting in for and know the alternatives.
So I would say before you enlist, just know that it is a commitment that you make, and that you really can't get out of it. That would be like probably the biggest thing.
Yeah. So lastly, what is a story that you have from your experience?
So one of the funnest times was when we went to West Point, New York, and we were able to
This is the best veteran school right here. Go 91 Charlie.
and we were able to set up tents, and we actually worked on the 101st Infantry in a tent in the dental unit, and we had to stay out in tents. That was fun.
So I was stationed in California at March Air Force Base. And when I was out there, apparently California, like Southern California, not a lot of rain all the time. So we were in the dorms and we were getting rain. And I'd already been there for 8 months and hadn't seen rain yet. So the big thing, everybody in the dorm was like, it was almost like this huge, like, we're having a big cookout thing. It's raining, we're going to play flag football. And it was like 200 people running out in the grass to play flag football because there was rain. Just such a strange, and
Like-
that's just something in New England. We're just like,
Right.
rain, snow, we
Rain.
get it all.
We have the whole
We
package.
don't really celebrate that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just differences.
And it's the hardest day I had when I was in. I served in a combat support hospital, so if you've ever seen MASH, it's similar to that in Iraq. And the hardest day I had my entire time wasn't any of the trauma we saw or the patients we dealt with or being under fire or any of that stuff. It was the day that I left my friends in Iraq. I had to leave early because I had orders to go to a duty station in Hawaii. So, but I remember the ride to Baghdad International Airport and just crying. And I don't know if I've cried really since then, but I must have cried for hours that day just thinking, what's going to become of my friends, of these people I've grown so closely with over the last 8 months or a year or 2 in some cases. And that's hard. And I think to some extent that's something high school kids will go through too, especially as you're seniors and thinking these people, these students and teachers and advisors and faculty members I've known and teammates I've had, what's next?
Yeah.
And that's a really hard thought to deal with sometimes.
All right. Well, thank you so much once again.
All right. Take care, guys.